didn't answer me if he was coming or not. He might be late. We can start.
Okay. Scotty, ready? Okay.
He texted me and said, "Do you need me to be there?" I said, "It's up to you." He didn't reply back.
You ready? Chuck or no? Okay. Call to order. It is 6:30 PM on August 11th, 2025, and this is the regular meeting of the Monroe Township Zoning Board of Adjustment. Notice of this meeting was given as required by the Open Public Meetings Act, and a copy was posted on the second floor bulletin board in Town Hall and on the township's website. Be advised, no new item of business will be started after 10:30 PM, and the meeting shall terminate no later than 11 PM. Please note, audio and video of this meeting is being recorded in accordance with Ordinance 56/2024. The meeting is being broadcasted live on the township's YouTube channel, and a link to view this meeting will be subsequently posted on the township's website for the public to view at their convenience. Everyone, please stand and salute the flag. Sorry, Mr. Kozak. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call.
Mr. Colavita?
Here.
Mr. Comiskey?
Here.
Ms. Fasano? Mr. Fruder?
Here.
Mr. Hefner?
Here.
Mr. Kozak?
Here.
Mr. McGeehan?
Here.
Mr. Rice?
Here.
Mr. Carino?
Here.
Mr. Heberly?
Here.
Ms. Pellegrini? Here. Mr. Fiore?
Here.
Mr. Warburton is excused.
Oaths.
Okay, Ms. Palvier, I'm going to swear you in. Swear affirm to tell the truth and nothing but the truth.
I do.
Okay, thank you.
Resolutions.
Okay, there are 5 resolutions on the agenda this evening for memorialization. If the board so chooses, you can do it by consent agenda. The first is number 25-2025.
I was going to do it at the end. So we're
Sorry.
doing it now.
The numbers are wrong. They should start at 26. I
Oh,
apologize.
2026, okay.
That's what I thought you said at the end.
Relief Cannabis LLC, and it's to amend the prior resolution. It's number 26-2026. Alan Bueller, use variance approval. 27 is, it's 27-2025. Shirley Lebinsky, use variance approval. 28-2025 is Ashley Kane, lot variance coverage approval. And then the final one is number 29-2025, Derek Nickturn, side yard variance approval.
Members, your pleasure in regards to applications 26 through 30.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Extension request for board action.
Okay, there's a letter in your submissions that were provided to you. There's a letter to Ms. Gallagher dated July 1st, 2025. The applicant is Carter Airstrip Solar LLC. Subject matter property is 256 South Tuckahoe Road. They previously received site plan, preliminary and final major site plan approval with various use variances and other relief and waivers. It was granted by the board under 59-2022. They are seeking a extension of time with respect to that, and council's here on their behalf. So it's, again, that's the basis. They're seeking an extension of time.
Thank you. That was a great summarization.
I tried.
Hi, everyone. My name is Emmanuel Sanfilippo, attorney with the law firm of Nemad Davis & Goldstein, and I represent the applicant here tonight, Carter Airstrip Solar 1 LLC. With me here tonight is Luke Childs, over there, Senior VP of C&I for Agreco, parent company to the applicant. If there's any specific questions that can be addressed with what I'm about to present, then I direct your questions to Mr. Childs, and hopefully he can address them. As was articulated, the property that's the subject of this application is 256 South Tuckahoe Road, otherwise known as Lot 57 in Block 12601 on the Township of Monroe tax map, located in the RD-A Rural Development Agricultural Zoning District. The application was filed by cover letter from my office dated July 1st, and it was subsequently scheduled for hearing this evening via email from the board secretary on July 30th. As this is an application for extension of approvals for less than 5 years, notice of this hearing was not required to be published by the applicant. Through this application, the applicant is requesting that the board extend the preliminary and final major site plan approval, use variance relief, and all other variances previously granted for the property as codified in Resolution Number 59-2022 submitted with the application. By way of background, the property did receive use variance approval from this board to permit two principal uses where only one principal use is permitted in this zone. Specifically, those uses that were permitted were a single-family residential use and a commercial auto repair use. This was memorialized in Resolution 13-2022. Shortly thereafter, the applicant returned to the board seeking use variance approval for a third principal use of the property, a ground-mounted solar facility, which was approved, as well as the additional use variances to allow the solar facility to generate power in excess of on-site needs and to be located in the front yard. Additionally, the board granted preliminary and final site plan with this resolution, bulk variance relief and design waivers for the proposed solar development. As the MLUL provides, zoning requirements applicable to the approved plan shall not expire for a period of 2 years after the date on which the resolution is adopted pursuant to subsection D of Chapter 40:55D-52. The board may grant up to a 1-year extension beyond the original 2-year approval period if the developer shows that unavoidable delays in obtaining required outside agency approvals impeded the progress and that the applicant diligently sought those approvals. The developer is permitted to request the extension within 91 days after receiving the final outside agency approval. In this case, the final outside agency approval came from the Gloucester County Planning Board, and that was received on April 8, 2025. This application was filed within 91 days thereafter. With respect to the previously granted variances, Monroe Township's code provides that a standalone variance expires 1 year from the date it was granted. However, there is a section 175-166C that ties variances granted in association with the site plan to the MLUL's 2-year period of statutory protection. Additionally, NJSA 40:55D-52 subsection D provides that an extension granted under these terms does not preclude the board from granting an additional extension pursuant to subsections A, B, or E. And subsection A provides that the board may grant up to 3 1-year extensions of the initial 2-year period of zoning protection. These extensions can be requested before or after the date on which the period of zoning protection expired. If they are requested after the expiration, the extension would run or begin on the date the period of zoning protection had otherwise expired. In this instant case, the original 2-year period of zoning protection applicable to the site plan and the use variance approvals expired on October 20th, 2024. Due to the fact that the applicant just received the approval from the Gloucester County Planning Board, the applicant respectfully submits that a 1-year extension of the period of zoning protection is warranted and should be granted, thereby extending the period of zoning protection from October 20th, 2024 through October 20th, 2025. And pursuant to 175-166C, this would include the variances as well. In addition, the applicant is going to seek those 3 additional 1-year extensions pursuant to 40:55D-52A. Specifically, construction of the proposed solar project is subject to the New Jersey Community Solar Program, and this program works on a lottery-based system to allocate the capacity to new solar installation and connect to the electrical grid. The submission periods are available once on an off case, sometimes twice a year. An application in the program usually requires submission in June of each year, unless a subsequent submission period is made available, which again is typically rare. The program is highly competitive, and an allocation award during a specific application isn't guaranteed, even when complete allocation is timely submitted, or a complete application is timely submitted. Usually, because of this, it takes a few applications to actually get granted the allocation. Here, the applicant could not apply for allocation from the program until they received that Gloucester County Planning Board approval, which was issued in April of this year. But since it was in April, the applicant did apply in June of this year for the allocation application, but was recently notified that they were denied. So at this time, the applicant has to wait until June of 2026 to submit a new application, unless by some miracle there is a new submission period opened up, but we're not expecting that to be the case. While it is possible, it's just quite unlikely. In light of what I provided on the record, the applicant respectfully requests a 1-year extension of the aforementioned approvals from the original expiration of the 2-year period of zoning protection on October 20th, 2024, pursuant to subsection D, which 40:55D-52, subsection D, which is based upon the inability of the applicant to move forward because of the delay in obtaining required governmental approvals. And then additionally, the applicant is requesting 3 1-year extensions from that new expiration if the subsection D extension is granted. And those are discretionary extensions that are provided under NJSA 40:55D-52A. That would result in a new expiration date of October 20th, 2028, thereby enabling the applicant to pursue the allocation from the program without fear of losing the protection of the approvals. I know that was a lot. That's all I have for the presentation. Mr. Childs is able to address any questions that may be asked. I just wanted to put all that on the record, and thank you so much for your time and patience.
Members of the board have any questions for the applicant, applicant's attorney?
Just, I have one through the chair, Chuck. So we're gonna, if they're asking for 3 1-year all at once,
Right, they
right?
can automatically for the 1 year by
Yeah.
statute, and the other 3 are discretionary. You could choose to do 1, or you could choose to do all 3.
Do all 3, or 1 and 1,
Yeah,
not all.
it's up to the board.
No, what?
And they can always come back and show cause why.
3 would
they need the
be
additional
for
extension.
4 years then?
Yes,
4 years.
yes, correct.
Okay. Any more questions?
I have a question, just understanding the reason why 3, does the applicant think that when they're able to apply in 2026, well, you said it's competitive, so even though it's open in 2026, it's still a possibility that they're not granted this?
Correct. There is a possible, and I would allow Mr. Childs to speak more directly to the likelihood, as far as percentages go, whether it's a coin flip, 60-40, or what have you. But yes, the basis is that it is pretty challenging to get these allocations. Obviously, the longer that they've been applying, the more likely that they're going to make their way to the top of the list. But again, it's just from the application being deemed complete and having everything with it, there's no guarantee that they receive their allocation.
Thank you.
Okay. No more questions? Okay. We're going to open to the public real quick.
Thank you.
Okay. Is there a motion to open to the public?
So moved.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Is there anyone from the public wishing to speak on behalf of the extension request for application 513 site plan and 22-46? Seeing none, is there a motion to close the public portion?
So moved. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it.
Through the chair, one.
Yes.
To his attorney, so it's a state regulatory that's the agency that gives it out?
Correct. Yes,
And
it
that's what he's
is.
subject to? They're giving him that?
Yes,
But
yes.
he's
So
willing
this
to
project
keep-
can't move forward
But he's
without the
willing to
state.
keep pursuing it until hopefully he gets it.
Correct.
Right. Thank
I
you.
wouldn't call it specifically an out, because this board's decision isn't reliant upon that approval, so it's not technically an outside agency decision that this approval is subject to, but as far as this project moving forward, it
Moving
is definitely an
forward, it
outside
is.
agency that we
Right.
need their,
He can't get.
their
he
allocation.
can't do it until he gets the approval.
Exactly.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, just to summarize for the board, there's going to be actually 2 resolutions you're going to act upon. The first, again, would be dealing with the extension, the 1-year extension from October 20th, 2024 through October 20th, 2025. Need a motion to approve.
Members, your pleasure in regards to a 1-year extension.
Motion to approve. Second.
Roll call?
Mr. Hefner?
Yes.
Ms. Fasano? Mr. Carino? Mr. Kozak?
The applicant's attorney has proven to me satisfactory that the applicant is pursuing the permits and subject to the state. Yes.
Mr. Rice?
Yes, as stated by Mr. Kozak.
Mr. Colavita?
Yes.
Mr. Comiskey?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, the second resolution would address the request of the applicant for a 3-year extension to expire on October 20th, 2028, and that would be from October 20th, 2025 through October 20, 2028. And again, you're not required to pass all 3. You can adopt it with 1, 2, or none. It's up to the board. It's in your discretion.
Okay. Members, your pleasure in regards to 3 1-year extensions in regards to this application.
Motion to approve all 3.
Second.
Roll call?
Mr. Hefner?
Yes.
Mr. Kozak?
Yes, because the applicant is pursuing it and he's subject to the state regulations. Yes.
Mr. Carino? Yes. Ms. Fasano? Yes. Mr. Rice?
Yes.
Mr. Colavita?
Yes.
Mr. Kaminsky?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it. and
Good
have-
luck.
Have a great rest of your night.
Applications. Application number 25-15 and 554 site plan, Raritan Growth LLC. Can this application be deemed complete?
This application can be deemed incomplete with several waivers and testimony provided as needed.
Do you believe that with your report and testimony, it could be deemed complete?
Yes, we're in no objections to the two waivers needed, one being for contours on the site plan and within 200 feet of the track, and lighting and driveway locations within 100 feet of the track.
Okay.
And we have previously, I think, waived those two
I
requirements
believe
in the
you
prior.
have, yes.
Okay. Is there a motion to deem this application complete?
So moved. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it.
Well, he set up, can I get started?
Yes, you can.
Great. Good evening. Amanda Curley from Dave Pitney on behalf of the applicant Raritan Grove. We're here tonight for preliminary and final site plan approval to have a Class 1 and Class 2 cannabis cultivation and manufacturing facility to occupy the rear portion of the property in the existing building there. The property is located at 2379 Black Horse Pike. It is Lot 9 in Block 8601 on the township's tax maps. If you recall, I was here last year on behalf of Raritan Grove, not Raritan Grove, Carry On Cannabis, with the proposed dispensary that is, I think, almost about to be open, and that occupies the front portion of the building. The building used to operate as a catering hall. It was purchased by a cannabis company, and they're looking to have all three classes of license in the same building, but they're two different entities that are going to operate it. So in the front portion is going to be Carry On, and that's what you've already approved. That approval, we did all of the site work, the exterior improvements. I believe the signs are now going up, and the work is almost complete on that. This application, we're not touching anything that we already did. We're not going to mess with the facade, with the signs, or with any of the site work. So there's a couple waivers referenced in the letter from the zoning code. There's no change from what was previously approved. So the stall size of the parking spaces are going to be the same. We put bollards in at certain locations. We're not touching any of those brand newly installed improvements. Why we're really here is a condition of that approval was when we found a tenant, we have to come back and kind of go over our operations, our security, and other things that are very germane to the cannabis issue. But we also are coming back because we need an amended D1 variance. So previously, you gave us an approval to have two uses on the property, two principal uses. Your ordinance only allows one principal use. So those two uses were going to be the Class 5 retail dispensary and then a Class 1 or Class 2 use. Now we're seeking to have all three. So we need an amended D1 to have three principal uses on the property. This is very common in the cannabis industry to have all three uses on the same property. In fact, the intention is to have Raritan Growth supply the dispensary with product. So they're going to have cultivation and then what I would call light manufacturing. They're not going to be making products that require heavy equipment or chemicals. For example, they will not be making gummies or vapes. They're going to be making pre-rolls and flour. And they're hoping to be able to supply a lot of the cannabis companies in the surrounding area, as well as Carry On right in the front of the building. So that's really the relief we're seeking here. It's just for that amended D1 and then preliminary and final major site plan to go over what we'll be doing in the back portion, about 5,000 square feet, 5,473. With me tonight, I have Greg D'Agostino of 10X Strategies. He's the applicant's representative. He's gonna go over the security, the operations, the loading, all those types of questions with you. He's gonna walk through the floor plans and kind of show you what they're envisioning, what's required. And then we have Stephen Hawk here, who's a professional planner who I hear is here quite often, so I think you're familiar with him, and he will go through the D1 proofs. And with that, I would love to call up Greg. I also here have the original affidavit of publication and the green cards from my noticing, if any. So we did notice and we sent certified mailings, and proof of same has just been handed over. And just for record-keeping purposes, we have a Collier's report dated July 22nd, 2025. We have an exemption from Gloucester County. And then we are awaiting NJDOT approval and I believe Pinelands exemption. So both of those agencies have jurisdiction, but we got letters exemption from each. And if we haven't gotten it, we will get it. And then I also want to note that we have a resolution of support for this use from the town council. And with that, I have Greg, if he could be sworn in.
Sir, could you just identify yourself for the record, your address, and who you are and what you're here for tonight?
Yeah,
Swear in.
Greg D'Agostino from 10X Strategies, 100 Franklin Street, Boston, Massachusetts, on behalf of Raritan Growth.
Okay, raise your right hand, please. Swear or affirm to tell the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do. Great. Thank you so much. Again, my name is Greg D'Agostino from 10X Strategies, here on behalf of Raritan Growth. 10X provides end-to-end project management for cannabis operators seeking state licensing and local permitting. We've been working in the cannabis industry since 2012. We work with cannabis operators in legal markets throughout the country. We've been fortunate here in New Jersey to work on over 24 applications, having secured 18 municipal resolutions and 11 land use approvals on behalf of our clients. We generally work with municipalities, including legislative bodies, planning boards, zoning boards, as well as state regulators to deliver secure, compliant, top quality cannabis businesses to cities and towns. So tonight, again, as Attorney Curley mentioned, we're seeking a site plan approval to operate a Class 1 cultivation and Class 2 manufacturing in the same building as an approved Class 5 retail. Also, as Attorney Curley had mentioned, all the site work has been completed per the previous approval from this board by the Class 5 the Class 5 operator. But they did the entire site. So when we came before this body about a year ago, we were looking at things like lighting and parking and all that as it related to this use as well. Just to give a brief update on the status of Raritan Growth with the Township and the CRC, we received our resolution of support from Township Council on January 22nd, 2025 for both Class 1 and Class 2 at this address. We've also been issued a final agency decision from the Cannabis Regulatory Commission for Class 1 cultivation and Class 2 manufacturing. We're in the midst of submitting a change of location for those licenses right now for this site. Just as a note, there's no prohibition from the CRC on having multiple operations in one building, and this location is allowed by ordinance as it's not located within 1,000 feet of any private or public elementary, secondary, vocational schools as measured from the property lines. I just thought I'd briefly address the interconnectedness of the use. So oftentimes in the industry, you see a cultivator have a manufacturing in that same building. It's very common as you look at not only the New Jersey market, but markets across the country, because the definition of manufacturing is very broad. So as Attorney Curley had mentioned, that could be anything from simply making pre-rolls, which is the type of manufacturing that Raritan Growth is looking to do at this address, all the way up to distilling and product and extracting product on site. So just to be clear, Raritan Growth anticipates that all of its product manufacturing activities will be limited to the creation of pre-rolls and the packaging of their harvested flower at this site. I did want to just put up the floor plan real quick, as it may help with overviewing the operations.
Can we just mark that as applicant 1, A1?
So these have been previously submitted to the board.
Okay.
Do you want to mark things that are new only or everything?
No, everything, that way the record's clear.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we'll do the floor plans as A1.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, you got a shiny finish, so it's a little hard to mark it.
this is, again, so this is an interior fit out of the back portion of the space. The retail has already been demised from this portion of the building. As you guys might remember, when it was a catering hall, it was sort of all interconnected, but those have now been separated out. So in this main area that used to be the ballroom of the old catering hall, the operator is going to be using tents. So they've got 6 cultivation tents here laid out across the length of the ballroom. And at the end of each of that pair of tent is a lung tent. And so the purpose for doing this is multifold. A, they are able to condition the air for the cultivation in these lung tents, so heating, cooling, dehumidifying, humidifying, and it also helps with the odor. So again, it's 6 cultivation tents. They're each approximately 196 square feet, and then at the end of each pair, there is the lung tent to condition the air that those plants are growing in. In addition to these 6 cultivation tents, there's a drying tent. So after the product's been removed from the cultivation tent and it's been cut down and is ready to be dried, it goes into this drying tent. And that's also approximately 196 square feet, and that's where the product will be dried. And then in the old commercial kitchen here, we've got a manufacturing tent. So this is, again, 196 square feet. And you see there's 2 work tables within that manufacturing tent, and that's where they'll take the product that'll be ground, and it will be put into pre-rolls and packaged. So in the manufacturing tent, they'll do both pre-rolls, and then they'll be putting the harvested cannabis into packages that aren't rolled. Just a couple of other things of note. So we have an employee room here in the back, top north corner. We've got an equipment room. So this is where we've got some water holding tanks and other equipment necessary for the cultivation. We've got a security and IT room, as we'll touch on with security, is a very robust security system for this suite, and then the ADA bathroom. And I will also note we do have the secured loading and unloading area. So as we came before the board last year, there was a desire to have a fenced, secure loading and unloading area. And so that has already been established. I've got some images that I'm going to put up for you momentarily. And that's where they will do the loading and unloading. So just as a point of emphasis, the retail has their own point of access to the loading and unloading that the Class 1 and Class 2 cultivator, Raritan Growth, does not have. And similarly, Raritan has its own access to the secured loading and unloading area as well. Maybe we want to put up these pictures?
Yeah, let's do it. I'm gonna put some photos of the property now that it's gone through improvements.
Yeah, so just a couple of things that we wanted to highlight. First
Just
of
if
all,
we can work if it's at A2 and A3, just for the
A2 will
record.
be the secure loading
Okay.
area. And then A3 will just be image of
it's the front facade.
front facade.
Ms. Curley, do you have a lot more pictures to be displayed?
I think that's it.
Okay, so we'll give it about, a couple minutes for us, the board, to look at it, and then at that point, you're gonna put it in the center hallway facing the residents. Okay?
So just as a point of emphasis, and as I was just mentioning, so this is, what you're looking at here is this is the secure loading and unloading area for both of the tenants with separate egress for security to each of those suites. And this is already installed and in place at the site today. And then per the previous approval for the Class 5 retail, there's been significant improvements to this building as a whole. But this is an image of the front facade. So the old entryway was taken down. A new entryway was established to beautify the building. It was painted. There was new siding put on the building, as well as many exterior infrastructure upgrades like the HVAC. So it just gives a good sense of the improvements that have already taken place to the building. So To that end, no additional facade improvements are proposed by Raritan Growth. Just to touch on a couple of the other items that I know are important for the board to consider. As it relates to odor mitigation, as I previously mentioned, the plants will be cultivated in tents, which helps to mitigate the odor. In addition to that, we're going to utilize high-efficiency carbon filters in a closed-loop HVAC system. So the Raritan Growth in the rear of the space will have its own closed-loop HVAC system. The retail in the front has already been separated from that HVAC system. So during the build-out, they'll be modifying the ductwork and replacing some of the ductwork that is there, and then implementing carbon filters in order to deal with with any potential odor issues. As to signage, there's no proposed signage for the Class 1, Class 2 operator. It's not something that we typically need to draw attention to for the operation, and for that reason, there'll be no additional signage. Just a couple of things I wanted to touch on as it relates to operations to give you a sense of scale. So they'll employ 2 to 3 residents full-time for the cultivation and manufacturing, with 2 to 3 part-time employees. The facility is expected to operate within the standard hours for manufacturing and light industrial businesses in the township, which are 12 a.m. to 11:59 p.m., 7 days a week. The site has plenty of parking. There's 64 spaces in total, plenty of parking for retail customers and employees, with 24 of those spaces being allocated to Raritan, which is well exceeds the six employees they anticipate having at the site. As I previously mentioned, the site lighting has been installed and will remain the same. We presented the lighting plan previously and again with this application, and that is installed and operational today.
And just as a point of clarification, the lighting will go as security lighting when the retail operations cease, correct?
Yes.
Thank you. Continue.
So Raritan Growth will strictly adhere to all the restrictions regarding no noise, odor, and security as set forth in Ordinance 25-2024. As it relates to noise, this use, especially in the way that this is being conditioned, the air, isn't expected to generate any noise outside of the building, so we don't anticipate any noise issues. As to deliveries, again, I know we looked at the secure fence, but just to give a sense of scale and volume, we will receive deliveries as any other agriculture or manufacturing business would. So we expect inbound deliveries of raw goods and materials, approximately 2 to 3 per week at the facility. That may not happen every week, as depending on what our storage needs are and how things are happening. But at a maximum volume, inbound deliveries 2 to 3 per week. And then as the wholesale product is cultivated, packaged, and sold for wholesale, we anticipate about 3 to 4 deliveries outbound per week. So they'll go and deliver the product to multiple stores that have purchased the wholesale cannabis from the cultivator and manufacturer. And that's really sort of at a maximum. So again, we won't necessarily be doing that every week. These delivery vehicles are typically Sprinter vans or something smaller, depending on what products we're receiving, but we're not talking about 18-wheel vehicles. The site wouldn't accommodate them anyways, but it's something that's akin to a Sprinter van or something smaller than that. And of course, we'll coordinate with the retail facility to make sure that all of the deliveries, either inbound or outbound, are done with the fence secure. Just a couple of notes on waste management, so both cannabis and non-cannabis waste. So the refuse and recyclables will be stored within the facility and picked up by a licensed private hauler. All disposal of cannabis products will be done in accordance with New Jersey Administrative Code 1730-9.14a. So that means that the product is either, what's required, I should say, under that administrative code is that the cannabis product is either destroyed through incineration or rendering the material unrecoverable, unrecognizable, and useless, and then disposing of that material as solid waste.
Very quickly, Greg, I just want to note, in connection with the last application, we actually removed the dumpster, exterior dumpster
That's also interior trash storage, yep. And for any of this cannabis that may be deemed unusable for any number of reasons, all the cannabis materials awaiting disposal will be stored in our secure storage and quarantined after being properly weighed and labeled before it's destroyed per the CRC code. Just a couple of things on security. So we did submit our security plans to the CRC as part of our application. We will have a integrated security system, including video surveillance, access control, and an alarm system. As we did with the retail, we'll seek to meet with the police department to make sure that they understand the security system that we'll be utilizing, and to oversee, once it's installed, to make sure that they understand how it works. We provide credentials and are required to provide credentials to our CRC investigators so that they have live views into our cameras, and we welcome the opportunity to provide those credentials to the police department as well, if they wanted to be able to view the site both interior and exterior. So just to touch on the coverage as it relates to the video surveillance system. So it's full video surveillance on the interior and exterior of the site, all parking, loading, ingress, egress. It's 360-degree coverage. So when we go through our final inspection, the security will have already been installed. The CRC will come in, they'll review that footage through their own credentials, and then through our on-site inspection. And again, we welcome the opportunity to have the Monroe Police Department also come in, inspect the system, and have those same credentials and access to the security system.
And very quickly on that, you've met with Township Police with respect to carrying on the system, correct?
Yes.
And you plan on doing the same thing with Raritan Road and having it approved by the police department?
Yep.
That's it.
And so, per the ordinance, we'll have an armed security guard on site during all hours of active operation. All the doors to the facility are locked and only accessible via the access control cards that are provided to employees, and that is provided only to that employee. So they've got a badge number from the CRC. They will have a access control card, so it creates an audit trail of who's accessing what rooms when, if for any reason we ever had an issue. And finally, on the security system, it will be monitored 24/7 per New Jersey Administrative Code 1730-9.10. Just a couple other items, and then I'll wrap up and leave it to questions. On utilities, there's no proposed changes to the existing water, site electric, or sewer. This unit was previously served by a restaurant and catering hall. We won't have anywhere near the impact on water or sewer as they may have. We anticipate using roughly 300 gallons of water per day, which is significantly less than a restaurant or catering use, with about 200 gallons of wastewater being produced out of the facility. Just a couple of things I wanted to touch on relative to the reports. So there's no solar proposed at this time. Frankly, that would be something we'd have to go and the landlord would likely install if that were to happen. In talking with our operations team, solar isn't really a practical source of the electricity for an indoor cultivation. If solar is being used, a lot of times it's to support outdoor or greenhouse cultivation. We will revise the environmental impact statement as requested in the Collier's report. And just a couple of things of note as it relates to energy efficiency. So we are applying to the New Jersey Department of Energy for a grant program they have for high efficiency lighting. And also we are fully replacing the old HVACs with high efficiency HVAC units to heat and cool the space. As I mentioned, the property already has water, sewer, and electric, so we have attained a will serve from the MUA in connection with the dispensary use, and if needed, we'll obtain additional will serves. And with that, I'll turn it over to questions.
So we're going to, Ms. Curley, I'd like you to just continue with your presentation. Both your professionals will give their reports, and our professional at the end will give her report, maybe answer any questions so we're not wasting time here. So continue with your presentation.
Great, and with that, I'd like to bring up our professional planner. I also failed to mention in my opening that we also got a D3 variance when we were here last time.
just for your record and your
Sure.
credentials.
Stephen Hawk, Hawk Planning LLC. I've been licensed as a professional planner for over 30 years. License is still in good standing. Member of the American Institute of Certified Planners also for over 30 years. I've been practicing planning since 1988. 28 years of experience with the City of Vineland reviewing site plans and development applications, and 9 years experience representing developers and applicants.
You appeared in front of this board and the planning board many, many times.
I have.
Okay, very good. And just raise your right hand, please. Swear or affirm to tell the truth and nothing but the truth.
I do.
Take it away.
Okay. So I would characterize this as a slight change to the previously granted variance, the D1 variance that was granted 11 months ago. And I'll go through that briefly as to why I feel that. But first, I just wanted to talk about the site and the location briefly as well. It's in a regional growth, a commercial district. That zone allows a variety of uses, retail, institutional, and uses pretty much conducive to highway traffic and to access along that major corridor through Monroe Township. The prior variance allows both a choice of either the dispensary and cultivation or the dispensary and manufacturing. And this slight deviation is the fact that both of those would be utilized in the back of the house, so to speak, and that those two uses, in addition to this dispensary, will all be indoors and probably not really noticed to the public or to the area as the fact that both of those uses are occurring in the back area of the building. The surrounding uses to this property are pretty much a variety of items: farms, residences, some institutional uses, and then the marine facility across the street, all the way from, I would say, all the way from Malaga Road to the municipal boundary along Route 322. There's quite a variety of uses and a lot of industrial uses as well. So as far as the purposes of zoning that I think this meets and promotes are, number one, purpose A, and promoting the general welfare by an adaptive reuse of an aging and underutilized catering hall. I believe it was vacant for a while and saw its better days, and now this use is revitalizing that building, reusing it, and putting it to a better purpose, and a purpose that's got to have some activity and some betterment to the site and clean up the site. Purpose G, providing sufficient space in a variety of locations and appropriate locations for multiple uses like agricultural, residential, institutional, and industrial is purpose G. All three uses are permitted. All the dispensary, the cultivation, and the manufacturer are all individually permitted, but they're not permitted because there's more than one use on a site. But they are going to be interrelated and interconnected by the way the process is going to take place. So the three of them together are actually going to work hand in hand and interconnect with each other. The finished product for the manufacturing use, some of it can go to the dispensary and get some efficiency of operation by allowing it to just be dispensed at the site, and that helps. Purpose G. Purpose J is also met, and that is no further degradation to the environment. There's going to be a desire on the applicant, and they're going to actually do it. They're going to have Department of Energy grants to have a better HVAC system, an HVAC system that meets those high energy standards, and also low energy lighting, and then the reduced vehicle trips as a result of having these three uses together are going to help that purpose as well. Site suitability, there's two tests to site suitability. One is where the site is within the municipality, and this is excellent access along a major corridor, east-west corridor, provides good access to the west for the outgoing deliveries and for the incoming product. Can go to the east as well, making its way down to the shore or to the Garden State Parkway, heading west, there's also access to the Atlantic City Expressway. So there is good access along this route within Monroe Township. The second part of site suitability is why the site itself and what about the building and the site itself make it particularly appropriate. And in this case, the site now has been built and designed to have the parking met to satisfy these three uses. The existing space fits the three uses. And then one of the items that was important to the client and to the operator was the open span of the building. The former catering hall, the dance area, the ballroom didn't have a lot of columns. It had an open layout, and that is also conducive to the manufacturing and cultivation setup, and that helped out as well. So that made the building particularly suitable. There's a requirement to have the Medici balancing also met and attested to. I would say that when cannabis first came out and was first introduced, there was a conservative approach to how it was all going to develop and how the intensity of cannabis was going to take place. Having all three uses on the same site, I think when cannabis first started, was something that was a concern of a lot of boards, and a lot of ordinances were written so to separate them and to not have them together. But now that there's been some time, and I think that there's a situation where dispensaries, the supply of dispensaries are greater, the demand for them is being met by the supply. There isn't the huge parking need that there once was when they first came out. And then the interrelation of the manufacturing and cultivation right on site is happening through the separation of the building, and the three can coexist. You heard the testimony from the operator as far as the amount of deliveries coming in and the amount of outgoing product. It's not even one per week per type of, for the two facilities. I'm sorry, it's not even one per day, 3 to 4 per week. So it's a light amount of in and out traffic, and to have all three uses at the same site at the same time, operating at the same time, is not going to be a problem. So, negative criteria, prong one, no substantial detriment to the public good. It kind of means one of the tests of that is that there's no change in the character to the neighborhood. And the character of the neighborhood is a mix of uses, residential, mixed with some industrial, some commercial. This used to have a catering hall that had some heavy use and some heavy traffic, more peak traffic, heavy weekend traffic, a lot of cars coming in, a lot of vehicles coming in for events, and then a lot of vehicles leaving all at one time. This use will meter out and separate out the amount of traffic. People will come in at more of a steady flow than the large peak use of a catering hall. So this use, I think, actually fits in better with the neighborhood and has lower traffic counts per hour and spread out over the day than the catering hall once did. So I don't think that there'd be any substantial detriment to the public good. The character of the neighborhood's not going to change, and it does fit in with some of the other industrial uses along 322. As far as negative criteria, prong two, no substantial impairment of the zone plan and zoning ordinance. All three uses, like I said, are permitted in the zone. The conditional use standards are all met except for the one side yard setback that was already granted by the board as a D3 variance. The building hasn't changed. The building's the same setback that it has been for many, many years, and that side yard will stay the same. And if each of these uses were proposed separately, it would not even need a D1 variance. And the fact that they can be interrelated and work together with some synergy is something that can be granted by the board. Because of all that, the amended D1 variance can be granted.
Okay, at this time, Ms. Pellegrini, would you like to give your report for callers?
Yes, thank you.
MTZB 1, we'll mark it as an exhibit. You're
Okay.
Sorry about that.
Under design, performance, and evaluation standards, well, before that, they did provide testimony that a side yard setback, which is a pre-existing non-conforming condition, will not remain unchanged, so nothing further for that would be needed. I would like some testimony on the hours of operation of the Class 1 and Class 2.
So for agricultural and light industrial, the hours of operation will be from 12 a.m. to 11:59 p.m., 7 days a week. Obviously, the cultivation process is always operational, not necessarily meaning that there's employees in the facility 24/7, but.
And minimum employees are 2 to 3, correct?
Yeah, 2 to 3 full-time employees with 2 to 3 part-time.
Okay, and just to clarify, you said that armed security guard would be after hours of the operation of the Class 5?
The active operation when employees are in the facility.
Okay.
Yep. And the security is monitored 24/7 through a alarm monitoring firm.
Okay. Okay, so now we'll move on to design, performance, and evaluation standards under curbs and gutters. Curbing exists at the driveway entrance to the facility and continues approximately 90 feet on each side of the driveway. As we did with the site plan with the original Class 5 approval, we defer to the NJDOT for any additional curb requirements. Previously, the NJDOT issued a letter of no interest for the site as proposed under Monroe Township Zoning Board application, 542-SP. Under lighting, the applicant should be prepared to provide testimony regarding hours of operation, which they just did. Under off-street parking and loading, as proposed, no curbing currently exists along the perimeter of the parking areas. As proposed, a waiver is required. A waiver was previously granted under Resolution 70-2024 for the deviation from this requirement, so that condition remains the same. The applicant proposes off-street parking spaces measuring 9 feet by 18 feet. As proposed, a waiver is required. A waiver was previously granted under Resolution 70-2024 for deviation from this requirement. This requirement remains, this situation remains the same. The applicant has depicted drive aisles less than 20 feet for one-way traffic and less than 24 feet for two-way traffic. This represents a pre-existing non-conforming condition. As proposed, a waiver is required. A waiver was previously granted under Resolution Number 70-2024 for deviation from this requirement as well. The applicant has not proposed any landscaping trees or grassed islands within the parking area. As proposed, a waiver is required. A waiver was previously granted under Resolution 70-2024 for deviation from this requirement. The floor plans show that the facility will share the loading dock space with the Class 5 retail use. The provided narrative indicates that 1 to 2 deliveries per week will be carried out using Sprinter vans. If a larger vehicle may be utilized, a turning template for the largest delivery truck expected should be provided on the plans. The testimony, as I understood it tonight, is that Sprinter van would be the largest of the vehicles. So an additional turning template would not be required. The narrative provided indicates that waste will be stored within the facility and hauled by a private waste hauler. Testimony has been provided on how much waste is expected to be generated from the facility. Both general and vegetative waste should be discussed. Is there anything further that you need to provide regarding that?
I don't believe so. We're going to have a private hauler, if that's needed. These types of uses aren't big waste generators because anything that is cannabis related, you can't just throw out. There's like a protocol in mind. So really it's like lunch containers for employees.
Okay.
It's not like a cleaner and haul use that has ample garbage.
Okay.
I would say at least once a week.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. The existing parking areas are located within 20-foot setback from the right-of-way line. Along the southern property line in the rear of the facility, parking stalls are abutting a lot zoned for residential use and are within a 15-foot parking area setback. These represent pre-existing non-conforming conditions that will not be changed. As for sidewalks, we deferred comment for sidewalk requirements along the Black Horse Pike to the NJDOT, should they choose to require. The existing freestanding signs exceed 20 feet in height. This represents a pre-existing non-conforming condition which will remain as testified. Testimony should be provided regarding any proposed signage changes to be made as a result of the proposed Class 1 and Class 2 facilities. It is my understanding from the testimony provided so far that no additional signage is being proposed.
Correct. And no change to any of the previously approved signage in connection with the other application.
Under cannabis, the applicant should revise the environmental plan to provide specifics on the degree of water, energy, and wastewater needs required by the facility. We request that these figures be provided to the MUA for review. You had said that you would revise as required, correct? The applicant should provide testimony regarding the use of solar panels to offset the energy consumption required by the grow facility and if there is intent to use solar. The applicant has stated they will explore energy storage and opportunities to reduce demand during peak times. Further testimony should be provided as to measures that may be taken. The environmental plan should be updated to remove any mention of the dispensary use and should be reflective of the Class 1 and Class 2 that we said that you would revise. The applicant should provide the board with a business operation manual for the Class 1 and Class 2 facilities. Has this been provided?
No, well, we will. We have to submit one for the CRC.
Yes.
So we will submit as a condition of resolution of compliance if approved.
Okay, thank you. The applicant should provide testimony regarding each of these requirements. Hours of operation for the manufacturing and light industrial business within the township, as long as they're, which need to be applicable to the hours of operation for manufacturing and light industrial businesses, which testimony has been provided. Security alarm system installation must follow the requirements as prescribed by 1730-910, which testimony has been provided that you will do so. Under general comments, under standards, again, testimony should be provided that cannabis businesses shall provide the Monroe Township Police Department with the name and phone number of the staff person to be notified during suspicious activity during or after operating hours. Will provide?
Yes, we will work hand in hand with the Township Police Department and have them approve our security plan as well as provide all of us.
Thank you. Under general comments, the applicant has requested a letter of no interest from the NJDOT for the Class 1 and Class 2 facility. This should be submitted to the board once received.
It will be submitted upon receipt.
Just as a note for stormwater management, the applicant does not appear to be creating more than 1 acre of disturbance or more than a quarter acre of new motor vehicle surface. Therefore, this is not considered a major development under current NJDEP stormwater regulations, and no stormwater management improvements are necessary. And the rest of my report just outlines the standard fees, contributions, and obligations for a minor site plan.
Thank you. Members of the board, have any questions for Ms. Pellegrini or any of the applicants' professionals that hasn't been addressed by our professional?
Mr. Chairman, earlier, you mentioned that there was going to be approximately 200 gallons per day of wastewater at this facility. Could you characterize what you meant by that? Is that sanitary or is that from the process?
From the cultivation process.
Okay.
Yes.
And how do you intend to, or what is the intent with handling the wastewater? In other words, are you going to be putting in a pretreatment process there for that, to handle that? Or, like, what's the intent?
Yeah, to be honest with you, I'm not the cultivator, so I don't know that specific of a question as it relates to that.
We're talking about water usage and sewer usage. So the sewage uses, we're not going to be increasing demand by any means. A restaurant has, I'm assuming, more bathroom stalls than we're proposing.
Yeah, we've got one.
That's not the nature of my question.
The water you're talking about.
No, it's,
Gallons per day for the cultivation cycle.
Yep.
plus 200 gallons of wastewater discharged. That's what he just said.
Yes, that's what I have in my notes as well.
I think he was saying compared to a restaurant use. I don't think he was saying 200 gallons per day of sewage.
Well, I guess it would be how you define sewage. So the plants obviously have water that is utilized in the cultivation and is then, disposed of in drains.
Well, that's my question to you.
Yep.
If you're generating 200 gallons per day of wastewater and it's from the manufacturing process, my question is, how do you intend to treat that to a concentration equivalent to domestic wastewater? Or do you have has that even come up?
It has not.
Okay. I can tell you, not in this respect, but in a different respect, that they've noted that antibiotics that are discharged to wastewater end up in the receiving stream with no treatment because they never anticipated treating it. So my thoughts on this are, well, if you've got cannabis product that's going out as wastewater, the treatment plant is not set up for that. You're normally speaking, when you have a manufacturing facility, you're required by the treatment facility to install a industrial pretreatment package to reduce that load to equivalent to a residential load. Okay, and you can certainly contact the MUA and contact GCUA, who's the treatment facility, for clarification on that. It could very well be it's such a small amount it won't matter. All I'm saying is having an answer to that question, I think, is important moving forward.
Noted.
I can probably make your task easier.
could I-
Would you agree to adhere to whatever the MUA and the
Chuck,
GCUA regulations
can I
are?
stop you for
Go
a
ahead, I'm sorry.
second? Isn't it private septic there? I thought
No.
it's city water
It's not septic.
and private septic.
I don't believe it's septic at the site. I believe it's serviced by the
MUA?
We will serve water from the MUA.
No, I know the well,
Yeah.
I know the water is the MUA, but I thought that's septic there, if I'm not mistaken.
It is septic because it runs across my property.
So he's saying it's MUA? I think it's private
Again, that's
septic.
beyond, if it's MUA, they're gonna have to adhere to
Yeah.
the regulations. If it's
Yeah.
septic, whatever the requirements
Right,
are,
private
DEP,
septic.
you have to adhere to those regulations.
We're
And
going to
again,
adhere to any regulations and the CRC as well.
And
I'm
the-
not sure the CRC even has a requirement with respect to that, but we will certainly look into those issues. And as a condition of approval, we will comply with all outside agency approvals as needed. I also think that maybe Mr. Agostino misspoke with the 200 gallons of waste. I think you were talking about the difference between water usage between Taylor Mall and
No, when we were talking to Frank, he thought there was about 200 gallons total a day.
that
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
At this time, can you take those pictures down now?
Oh, yeah.
Thank you. Any more questions?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Go ahead.
Just humor me for a second, because I got on this board just recently, so I wasn't here when you started this whole process. So what I'm gathering here is you came in for a variance because it was a single-use building, and now you've got two uses in the building, correct?
It's three licenses, but two entities, correct?
You have two entities, now you're coming in here to have a third use in the building, correct?
Yes, just to be clear, so the Class 1 and Class 2 is both licensed to one entity, Raritan Growth. And then the Class 5 license, the third license is Carrion. So two entities total, three licenses from the Cannabis Regulatory Commission.
Any more questions from members of the board? And Ms. Crowley, you closed already?
No, but I actually have a quick question. In the Colliers report, they're indicating a bunch of waivers. Are we
I believe what needs to be done is just a reaffirmation of those waivers.
Okay.
Because minor site plan approval was required when these uses came, with this use coming in, so reaffirmation of those waivers is appropriate.
Okay, and then another question I had is, there's no requirement for a developer's agreement. We already had one, we already posted all bonds and did all the improvements. Happy to do it again, I'm just not sure if it's necessary. I'm not sure if posting of a bond would be appropriate here if all the site work has already been completed and already been posted for.
I would ask the township solicitor and township engineer that
Okay,
question,
so-
and perhaps they'll have you modify it, that's all.
Great, or maybe we should have the wording for the developer's agreement, like, could be waived at the reasonable discretion of the township solicitor, just because we did all the bonds. Great, thank you.
Okay, at this time, is there a motion open to the public?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? The ayes have it. Is there anyone from the public wishing to speak on behalf of application 25-15 and 554 site plan? Please step up to the microphone, sir.
We need to
Yeah,
swear.
George Buriak.
You know the routine.
I am
Okay.
2 houses east of this property,
George, I need to stop you. Your address for the record.
2407 South Black Horse Lane.
Okay, and raise your right hand, please. You swear and affirm to tell the truth and nothing but the truth.
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Go ahead, sir.
First of all, I don't know how we even got to this point in this township. You're gonna have 8 dispensaries in the township. I know we're money hungry. I mean, you ought to be letting other industries coming into the township instead of a medical marijuana facility. Like I said, I have a granddaughter that lives right there with me. All right? You have a preschool, which is less than 1,000 feet away. And I was told tonight that a preschool don't count. Well, them kids are our future. Am I right or not? And you have to let a medical marijuana grow distribution center right next door to it. All right? And like I said, I just don't know how in the world this is even being entertained to be put there. Like I said, and the public sewer does run right across my property. Okay? And my suggestion, you're gonna let this go through, put a fence around the place. Put an 8-foot fence, 12-foot fence with razor wire. Leave the front parking lot sealed, and then everything in the back is all fenced in. Because these places get broken into all the time. I don't care what kind of cameras and, security system you have. If somebody is not there 24 hours a day, they're broken into. And I know that for a fact, because I know ones that were broken into over in Winslow Township. So, I mean, that's my opinion. So, like I said, I just don't know how in the world this came about. We need 8 facilities in this township. That's all I have to say, and like I said, I know I'm probably talking up a wall, but
No, we're just listening to your opinion. That's what we want to hear your opinion. That's all.
like I said, I have a 10-year-old granddaughter that lives 2 houses away. 2 houses. And I don't need her to be, put in this situation. Oh, we can just go right down the street and go buy pot. And then now you're going to Knights of Columbus and Williamstown, it's going to be a recovery center because of all the dispensaries that are in the township. And now we got a place to rehab them now, down there. And all it does is bring in riffraff. And what is the operation hours of this dispensary?
You can call the
Point
township.
of clarification, the dispensary's already been approved, we're not here about the dispensary.
I didn't ask that. I asked what the operation hours
You
of it
can
is.
call the township and we can give you that information. You can call the planning office during business hours. We can answer that for you. They're permitted to be 10 to 10 by the ordinance, if they want it to
10
be.
to 10. 10, they need to
The
sell
retail is
pot.
permitted
They need
by
to
ordinance.
sell marijuana 10 in the morning till 10 at night. I mean, that's unheard of, as far as I'm concerned also. But all I got to say is, we got a lot of our own security.
Thank you. Is there anyone else in the public wishing to speak on behalf of application 25-15 and 554 site plan? Seeing none, is motion to close the public portion?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Mr. Fury?
Okay, I want to summarize the application that's before the board this evening. The applicant is seeking the use variance to permit a Class 1 cannabis cultivation and Class 2 cannabis products manufacturing within the same building. It was prior approval for a dispensary that was granted pursuant to a use variance that was previously addressed by the board. The only other change to the site would be there's a minor site plan approval to occupy the rear portion of the building, so it's rather straightforward. The applicant has also agreed to reaffirm whatever the prior waivers were. You heard testimony from their security consultant, also from Mr. Hawk, who's a approved planner in the state of New Jersey. He provided testimony with respect to the balancing test that you're required to undertake with respect to whether or not you believe this additional use is appropriate. He went through the criteria for the purpose of zoning, whether or not it's site suitable, and it's incumbent upon the board to consider all of those factors, both the negative and positive, and come to your own specific decision regarding same. You need to move forward tonight. You need a motion to approve the additional use variance or modification of the prior D1 variance to allow the Class 1 and Class 2, as well as the minor site plan approval that's being sought, and reaffirming the prior waivers that were approved by the board.
Members, your pleasure in regards to application 25-15 and 554 site plan.
Motion to approve, Bruce.
Roll call.
Mr. Rice?
Yes.
Mr. Carino?
Yes.
Ms. Fasano? Yes. Mr. Hefner?
No.
Do you want anything on the record? No. Okay. Mr. Colavita?
All these uses are permitted. They're just adding an additional use in the building. Yes.
Mr. Kozak?
Yes, for the reasons stated by the previous,
Mr. Comiskey?
Yes, for the reasons stated by Mr. Colavita.
Okay, you're approved.
Thank you so much.
Next on the agenda, application 25-19, Denise and Rich Bush, buffer encroachment variance. Please step up to the microphone. And Ms. Pellegrini, you're excused. Have a good night. Can this application be deemed complete?
Yes.
Is there a motion to deem the application complete?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Mr. Fury?
Okay, just to summarize the minor application number 25-19, Denise and Rich Bush are seeking a buffer encroachment variance to allow for the existing shed and pool to remain in the buffer area. Subject matter property is 321 Bryn Mawr Drive in the RGMR zoning district. Oh, I'm sorry. Raise your right hand and say your name and address for the record. It's been a long night already. Okay.
Richard Bush, 321 Bryn Mawr Drive.
Okay, you're both going to testify?
I guess.
Okay, all right. I swear you want to tell us. What's your name for the record? You swear to affirm to tell the truth and nothing but the truth.
Do.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, in your own words, can you explain to the board why you're here tonight?
We're selling our house, and the pool and the shed are in a buffer zone, which nobody in my neighborhood even understands. We're just trying to see if we can keep it there, so we can sell the house.
Do your neighbors have sheds and pools in the general, same general area?
Actually, I think my neighbor's house might actually be in the buffer zone. It's because they put long ranchers this way.
Way to
and
dime them out.
it's like-
Okay. Members of the board have any questions for the applicant?
well, through the chair, obviously you put this up without permits, correct?
We thought the pool company was doing it at first.
But
Well,
it
I
was-
didn't know I needed a permit for
It
a
was
shed.
put up, no, the pool and the shed was put up without permits, or it would have been caught at that time before you actually put it
Yeah,
up.
yeah.
To put it in the buffer.
Any more questions?
Just if you could just put on the record, other neighbors have similar situation with sheds in the buffers and.
Well,
We can go- from time to
everybody
time out.
on my side that I can see, yeah,
Did you say
everybody
that?
has.
Okay.
I did just ask that question, didn't I?
I was just
That's
reinforcing.
all right. Listen, he just had a long thing going, so I get it.
Members of the board, have any more questions for the applicant? Had a chance to review the application?
Yeah, just another question. The shed is portable, right? It was brought on a truck or something
Yeah,
and put there.
yes.
So the shed could be moved,
Yeah,
right? The pool, above-ground pool is a little more involved.
yeah.
But the shed could be moved another, 20 feet, and then it wouldn't be in the buffer anymore, correct?
Yeah.
You have any objections to moving the shed? The pool's another issue.
If I should, I think my whole row of houses.
Well, then they would have to be addressed too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that, his analogy that if they do it, I can do it, is not really relevant.
I get it.
Would you agree that a condition of approval, that if we let you keep the pool, that you'll move the shed?
Yeah, I guess. It might hurt my sale, but yeah.
The sale's Friday.
Yeah, mine, we go to
Oh.
sale on Friday.
We've been trying to do this, and they made us wait till now.
Yeah, this was
Okay.
the earliest appointment you had.
Okay. But all your other neighbors have the same exact thing?
I sent
Mine-
pictures of the
Yeah,
shed.
my neighbor's pool is like literally this close to my fence.
Okay.
In that buffer zone.
Any more questions from members of the board?
No, just a statement here. What's the difference of a shed and a pool, or just a pool or the shed, either way? Something's in the buffer zone.
Yeah.
It forces people to move something when everybody else has it.
Right. It's like,
Just my thought. If it's one or two, either way, it's still in the buffer.
okay.
If you move one, you still have something else in the buffer.
My question is, my neighbor just had a fence put up, and he had it surveyed. And he said he went there, and according to their survey and the township, there was no more buffer zone there. So that's what I didn't understand. Is it there? Because he's telling me in his survey it's not.
It would be contained in the deed.
How old
It wouldn't necessarily be in the
Here's the survey right here.
Okay, does it have it in there?
No, he said his neighbor.
For my
No,
neighbor,
forget
he
his
just had a
neighbor.
fence put up.
We should
Sometimes
only
they're
be
not
addressing,
transferred on the
we should only be addressing this
I
gentleman.
was asking the question, that was all.
Yeah, we should only be addressing this gentleman, not the whole neighborhood at this point. And his survey, when did you have the survey done?
It was when the house was built in '98.
Oh, wow, and they're accepting a survey that's
Doesn't have a time
30
limit
years
anymore,
old,
as long as it's the same property owner.
and he wrote it in. They're not required.
We don't have a requirement, the
No,
zoning
she-
office does for permits,
yeah.
but they took the time limit off as long as it's in
Oh.
the same name of
Yeah.
the current owner.
Okay, any more questions? Okay, is there a motion to open to the public?
So moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Is there anyone from the public wishing to speak on behalf of application 25-19? Seeing none, is a motion to close the public portion.
So moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Mr. Fury?
Okay, just to summarize the application, application 2519, Denise and Rich Bush, seeking a buffer encroachment variance. There's an existing shed and pool in the buffer area. They provided testimony in support of their application for the variance.
Members, your pleasure in regards to application 25-19.
Motion to approve.
I think I heard Carino and
Yeah,
Pizzano.
go with that.
Bob said
it, too.
Don't worry about it.
Bob agrees with something noted for the record.
Mr. Carino,
Yes.
Ms. Pizzano, Mr. Hefner,
Yes.
Mr. Kozak.
No, they're both things that could be moved out of buffer zone. We're not allowing things to be in a buffer.
Mr. Rice,
Yes.
Mr. Colavita,
Yes.
Mr. Kaminsky.
Yes.
Okay, you're approved.
Good luck.
Good, thank you very much.
Next on the agenda, application 25-20, Anthony Acello? I was close. Lot coverage. Please step up to the microphone.
Mr. Chair, I need to recuse myself as being on the notification. That's what
Okay.
Both of you just state your names for the record and your addresses.
Sure. Anthony Alcello,
Something else, Ella?
And your address for the record.
65 Herbert Boulevard.
Okay, you both swear affirm to tell the truth and nothing but the truth.
Yes, sir.
Can this application be deemed complete?
Yes.
Is there a motion to deem the application complete?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. In your own words, can you explain why you're here tonight to the board?
Yeah, I'm seeking a variance. We're currently at 41.3%. We just had a recent survey done to put this at a lot coverage of 47.5, I believe 47.5. We're asking just a little buffer to 55%.
And side and rear yard.
And the side yard, yes, side yard variance 3 where 5 is permitted, side yard variance of 4.1 feet where 5 feet is permitted, and a rear yard variance of 2.2 feet where 5 feet is
For
permitted.
existing shed and
And the shed.
neighbors.
So, sir, you're saying that it's currently 47.1?
I believe it's 47.1 or 40, it's on this survey.
Which one are we going by? Because we have 41.
41.3 was previously approved by the board. He
Mhm.
went over the 41.3, so that 47 that he mentioned is what it's at now, being over.
Okay. So why are you looking for 55%?
Yeah, it was a little high. I just wanted to, just in case there's any calculations different on the survey, I just wanted to be in a safe spot where it didn't go over.
You don't plan on adding anything else, do you?
Absolutely not.
Okay, members of the board have any questions for the applicant?
So 55 is just in the event that it's surveyed and you don't want to have the experience that you have right now with going over the 47.5?
Yes, sir.
The survey was just done in June. So.
Right.
Should be accurate.
Well, the survey represents the existing conditions, right? That's
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. Any more questions for the applicant? Motion open to the public?
So moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Is there anyone from the public wish to speak on behalf of application 25-20? Seeing none, and is there a motion to close the public portion?
So moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. We'll say, if 55 is too much of a number, you can suggest,
You can
do
cap
we
it at.
do we do
we're-
50,
Yeah.
or the number he actually has right now? I'm just saying, instead of just being like, no, you can. if
Well,
you-
I mean, I just don't want to leave it open to future expansion, just
Right, so
kind of, that's all the point was. And I think, did you say you were moving?
Correct, yeah.
Was that part of the testimony? So it would be a whole new homeowner.
Right. So, what's your suggestion?
I would leave it to, what's it, 40, what are we at, 47.5, we said?
Whatever the survey says.
Right. So survey amount, motion to approve
Okay.
it is
Yeah,
survey amount?
Okay. Okay. Mr. Fury?
Okay, just to summarize the application.
Was there a second? Sorry. I made the motion, I didn't hear a second.
Well, that was your suggestion, right?
Okay, I'm sorry.
Okay, the applicant's requesting a lot coverage variance to allow 55%, where 41.3% is the maximum permitted. There's been discussion regarding leaving that percentage at 47.5%, which would actually depict the current conditions of the property. The applicant is also seeking a side yard variance of 3 feet where 5 is required for existing concrete. Side yard variance of 4.1 where 5 feet is required, and a rear yard variance where 2.2 is the current condition and 5 is the required. And then there's another rear yard variance for 3 feet where 5 is required, the existing pavers, along with any other variances that are necessary. Subject matter property is 263 Stagger Bush Road, and that's in the RGPR zoning district.
Okay, members, your pleasure in regards to application 25-20.
Motion to approve to the current conditions and the lot setback variances.
Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call?
Mr. Colvita?
Yes.
Mr. Carino? Ms. Fasano? Yes. Mr. Hefner?
Yes.
I went out of order, sorry. Mr. Kozak?
Yes, it's an existing condition.
Mr. Rice?
Yes.
Mr. Comiskey?
Yes.
Okay, you're approved.
Thank you all.
Good luck with your sale. Good luck. Okay. You want to grab him, Dominic? Oh, okay. And we're going to take a 5-minute break at this time. Ready? Okay. Wait on you, Scotty. Okay, we're back in session. Next on the agenda is application WSB 0423 and 2341. Brian and Rhoda Quinacki, please step up to the microphone. It's a request to amend prior approvals. Can this application be deemed complete?
It's just an amendment.
Just amendment, no application. All right.
Just raise your right hand, state your name and address for the record.
Brian Kalnacki, 664 Clayton Road, Williamstown.
Okay, very good. The other left, no.
Yeah. You gotta keep your hand down, we swear.
Okay, you both swear affirm to tell the truth and nothing but the truth.
Yes.
Okay, in your own words, just explain to the board. We have the letter.
The letter, yes.
So
the
can you just
Pinelands-
explain in your own words
Okay.
while you're here?
Pineland's part of the certificate of filing, we had to come up and put it in up here with the board to say we're gonna go from 7 days down to 5 days due to the septic field, basically, the dilution of water going into parts per million. So I was like, okay, no problem. But we had to do it officially. That's bottom line. So we're going from 7 days to 5 days.
The Pinelands is requiring you to do this and it to be official.
Yeah, to
Yes.
add the wording into the resolution of
Yes.
approval.
And that's pretty much it.
That's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Members of the board have any questions? No? Is there a motion to open to public? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Is there anyone from the public wishing to speak on behalf of this request? Seeing none, is motion to close the public portion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Mr. Fury?
Just to summarize the application briefly, WSP 04-23 and 23-41, Brian and Rhoda Kornacki. Address is 664 Clayton Road in the RGC zoning district. There's a previous approval for a use variance and site plan for the property under Resolution 70-2023 and 71-2023. They're here today just seeking relief at the request of Pinelands to decrease the days and hours of operation from 7 days a week to 5 days a week, basically lessening the intensity of the use on the property.
Okay, members, your pleasure in regards to this request of WSP 0423 and 23-41?
Motion to approve, Kozak.
Second.
Mr. Kozak?
Yes, it's just a technical report that we're doing, so yes.
Mr. Colavita?
Yes.
Mr. Carino? Yes. Ms. Fasano? Yes. Mr. Hefner?
Yes.
Mr. Rice?
Yes.
Mr. Kaminsky?
Yes.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Great, thank you. Thank you.
Next on the agenda, application 1876 and 23-62, John Lash, request to amend prior approvals. Please step up to the microphone. Can this application be deemed complete?
Yes.
Is there a motion to deem the application complete?
Second.
All those in favor?
Where's the opposition?
Opposed? The ayes have it.
Okay, want me to just?
Oh, no, I was just looking, go ahead.
Just to summarize the application, it's application number 1876 and 23-62, John Lash, request to amend prior approvals. There was prior approval for site plan on this particular property, Resolution 11-2024, and there's condition 5. In the same resolution, condition 14, I believe that's the only conditions that the applicant is seeking to amend. All other conditions remain in place, is that correct?
That's correct,
Okay.
counsel.
And just if your client could raise his right hand, state his name for the record.
John Lash, 313 Lake Avenue?
Swear firm to tell the truth and nothing but the truth.
Yes.
Okay, very good, thank you.
And my appearance, Brian Flanagan for the applicant.
Okay.
Okay, wonderful. So, just a couple things here. This comes out of an approval, obviously, that was given at the end of 2023 or the beginning of 2024, I believe it was. It was for a property at 317 Lake Avenue, which borders, and the reason why we're here, is a neighboring property, 323. So if you're looking at the properties from the street, the property in question is on the left, and the neighbor property is on the right, okay? It concerns a driveway and whether or not there's going to be a requirement to, well, strike that. There is a requirement, according to the prior conditions of approval, that Mr. Lash strip back roughly 10 feet of asphalt and do some kind of landscaping within that area, which was referred to as a natural buffer or something along those lines. The purpose of the application today is to propose an alternative, which is a fence, instead of landscaping, as more economical, more efficient now as well as going forward. So the driveway, as it was acknowledged in the prior application, is a pre-existing non-conforming use. So while the 10-foot setback is in fact the setback in the zone, it wasn't the setback in the zone when this driveway was originally constructed. And then Mr. Lash simply paved that portion for any number of reasons. But it's paved to the lot line because that's what was permitted as a pre-existing non-conforming use. There's a lot of confusion maybe in the record or raised by the objectors to this application. This is not a property that's running the commercial vehicles that Mr. Lash is involved with. This is a residence, and the subdivision, which is another property to the left, it's the flagpole property, flagpole and then flag, which is going to go to the back of this property, 317, and that's the subdivision approval that the conditions came into. Both of them are residential properties, okay? They're not commercial properties. Am I right about that, Mr. Lash? Okay, good. And just for what it's worth, in terms of good faith, Mr. Lash and his wife have put a great deal of effort into actually rehabilitating this property. It had been many years ago a working chicken farm, and then it fell into disuse, and it was completely a shambles when they took over. Many, many, many dumpsters of debris were taken off the property and properly disposed of. There was vegetation that was all over the place. They took care of that. They really put a great deal of time and effort into cleaning up the property. In that process, that's also how they cleaned up along the side and eventually paved the driveway, okay? Now, these are legal points. I'm only raising them to protect the record, if you will. But I would submit, and of course, its counsel would opine on that perhaps, but I would submit that the conditions of approval, particularly the conditions of approval regarding the driveway, really could be argued, let's put it this way, and respectfully, it could be argued that they weren't related to the variance application. Because the variance application, there were two different, there was a subdivision approval and there was a variance. And the first variance was a use variance because they were going to put a house on a property that already had this odd structure, a pole barn in the back of it. And so it was a use variance. The second issue that came up was minor subdivision approval. So those things were not related to the neighboring property, especially since the subdivided lot on the Lemanowitz side doesn't come to connect with the Lemanowitz property until well into the backyard of 317. So it's a rectangle surrounded by a flagpole and a flag. But that flag only touches the Lemanowitz property in the backyard, where I don't know that there was any complaint about that. My understanding is it was a complaint about from the entrance from Lake Avenue up some distance, maybe 60, 70 some odd feet up from Lake Avenue. That didn't really concern the variance application or the subdivision application. However, moving on, there is an objection that's raised, and I just want to address this one objection. Other objections I'll reserve because they were essentially legal objections, if I understand it. But there was in the objector's letter, there's a very significant statement that somehow Mr. Lash had agreed to a buffer affecting this property. But that's not the case. If you go back and read the 2018 resolution, it had nothing to do with either 317 or 323. Okay, so the objectors say, excuse me, my apologies. The objectors say at that time, this is in 2018, and I'm reading from the objector's letter of August 7th. The applicant at that time, meaning in 2018, the applicant testified that there were buffers between his property and the neighboring properties. And Mr. Lash did say that, but there were 2 or 3 properties to the left, if you're looking at them from Lake Avenue, closer to Black Horse Pike. So it was not even related to this. It was properties 315 and 311 Lake Avenue. Had nothing to do with 317 or 323. Okay, so those buffers just had no bearing on this. The other thing is, the Lashes at that time didn't even own 317. They didn't purchase it until 320. So Mr. Lash couldn't have made representations regarding a property he didn't even own at the time. Okay, so that's just to address one of the objector's points. But essentially, and I won't take too much more time. I could show you pictures, but I'm not going to. The basic point of this application is that we're trying to make sense of a difficult situation. There's neighboring property owners. They're not getting along with respect to how they're each using the properties and what's the best way to resolve that. Had I been with Mr. Lash at the time that he was here before you, had he had counsel, and I know I'm not saying I'm not unringing the bell. I'm not saying anything about that. But I probably would have requested some kind of conference and we would have worked out something. But now, as we look at it in maybe a different light with a little bit of time to decompress, the complaints that were in the record, okay, had to do with light, headlights coming into the property, had to do with it's terrible to have a limited memory. Had to do with using a weed whacker and what else was it? And the heat of the blacktop, but weed killer and a leaf blower that was blowing debris and dust into the sunroom. And this is all in my letter of May 28. And they expressed concerns about accessible light for planting their own flowers, okay? I would propose that installing a fence is probably the most effective barrier to prevent light from coming through. Immediately, once you install a plank-on-plank fence, no light's going to come through. And that's immediate. That's not something that comes 5, 3, 5, 10 years from now when trees grow together. It'll immediately stop light, okay, coming from one property to the other. And just for the board's notice, lights come from the Lemanowitz property when they back up into their garage also, shining over towards the Lash property. So we're trying to really make better accommodations for both neighbors here. So a fence stops the light. The other thing is, a fence, there's no weeds because there's nothing for weeds to grow in. So there's no weed killer, there's no debris, there's no leaf blowing or anything like that because there's nothing growing there. Instead, it's just gonna be a fence if the board agrees with that recommendation. There's no other maintenance. On the other side, when it comes to burden, that's related to this. The cost of stripping back asphalt and then disposing of the asphalt and then putting in a landscape buffer instead of a fence is significant. It's at least $20,000 by Mr. Lash's estimates. But that doesn't really even address it because there's the ongoing year-to-year costs of maintaining all that buffer going forward in perpetuity, you know? And that's not something that I think the Lashes actually bargained for when they took this on. I get it if a municipality has a buffer zone or a subdivision, a whole subdivision sets aside a 10-foot buffer like in a age-restricted housing that's just down the street from this, Holiday City. You know, there's a 10-foot buffer there. Then a whole bunch of people are maintaining that buffer. But this is just one person, and it's a significant obligation to try to maintain that much of a buffer. Not only that, let's say the Lashes sell the place and someone else takes it over and doesn't maintain the buffer. What's going to happen then? There's going to be disputes about neighbors that are going to be coming here. They're going to be coming to the offices upstairs. There's going to be complaints. It's just not a great way to handle relations, in my view, between neighbors. And so the proposal is to put a fully conforming fence from wherever it should start on the property, which I think is 10 feet from the lot line on Lake Ave, and put that at whatever height the board recommends. I think it's 4 feet at that point, or 3 feet, I'm not sure, up until it gets to the house, and then extend it up to 6 feet, or if possible, even 8 feet, because that would provide even more of a barrier between the two neighbors. But that's the proposal. And of right, the Lashes can put in a fence anyway. And so if you put in a fence and then put landscaping on the Lashes side of the fence, it's of no utility to the neighboring property owner. So that's the proposal. I would respectfully request that the board consider that and grant the application to amend the condition of approval. There's other small points, but I won't get into them right now unless it comes up in connection with whatever the objectors have to say. So I'd reserve on that. But thank you. I appreciate your time and your attention, and much appreciated.
Through the chair,
Go ahead, Dan.
you're proposing a 4-foot white vinyl fence? Is that what we're going to do?
Within the site triangle, though. And
Would-
then-
No, I didn't say, go ahead. Well, they have to, you didn't,
You weren't sworn in.
you weren't sworn in. You had to come up and get sworn in.
But I think the testimony was within the site triangle, then it's gonna.
No, 10 foot.
Increase.
Yeah.
but
whatever
it's-
the code-
But, yeah, but they can't go up in the front of his house, they can't have it 6 foot.
No, that's what he's saying. near the
4
street,
foot.
near
That's-
the street.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
I
Whatever
can't
the-
tell them.
That's why I said 4 foot.
Starts at 4 foot, and then you can go up to 8 foot after you get past the side of the house.
Or maybe it's 3
No,
and 6.
it's
I'm
6
not sure.
foot.
Okay, what,
It's 6 foot, it's
6
not 8
at the
foot.
top, yeah.
So it'd be 4 foot from, 10 foot from the street to the house,
Yes.
white vinyl fence. No, 4 foot, and then you can go to 6 foot then after that. Yeah, you can't go to 8.
Okay. And
That's what I was just
Yeah.
clarifying.
You're right.
And 4 foot in front, from your house to the road, or 10 foot from the road, But
Thank
I
you.
wanted to clarify more, it's gonna be a white vinyl fence, is that what you're proposing? A white solid vinyl fence, right? Okay, no, I just wanted to, he said board,
Board on board.
board on board, and I'm always confused when people say that. That, maybe that's me, but
No,
I like
no.
to hear white vinyl fence.
My mistake.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
no, I just wanted to
Yeah.
clarify, okay?
So, just conforming. By the way, there is an existing problem in the site triangle. I know it's not a site triangle because it's not a corner lot, but there's vegetation on the neighboring property side that actually still blocks the view coming out. And there was a fatal accident not too long ago, in part because of that. So it wouldn't be an awful idea to maybe even take back some of that stuff on the last 10 feet
Well, that
of
would be up to the
driveway.
zoning officer.
I know that's.
Yeah,
that's
and
not
and
acceptable.
if this is proposed, that it would be subject to the zoning officer's approval.
Correct.
Thank you.
But I just wanted to hear what size fence you wanted to put.
Any more questions for
What
the?
type?
I'm sorry, Dan.
That's all. Thank you.
Any more questions?
Mr. Chairman,
Go ahead. Eric.
in the previously approved application, 2024, on page 2, oops, I'm sorry, page 8, sorry, I got old eyes. Section 5, it discusses the 10-foot buffer area that you've agreed to. Now,
I'm sorry, sir. Which number are you referring to there?
okay, this is
I'm on
application,
page 8 of 12,
Which resolution?
12 to 2000.
okay, resolution 11-2024.
Let me get that. That's the other. Here it is. Yes, sir. Page 8.
Yep, item 5.
Okay. There we go. Yep.
Okay. Applicant shall cut back portion of the asphalt driveway to leave a 10-foot buffer and shall be required to plant landscaping which shall be approved by the board's planner within 6 months of the date of the resolution. My question is this: okay, you don't want to cut the driveway, right? You want to put a fence in. Do you intend to install the fence in the same location as the cut would have been? Are you going to still have a 10-foot buffer, even if it's a fence?
The proposal would be the 6 inches that's required under the code, and the point of putting it over the asphalt is, again, it would serve the same purpose as those kind of plastic underlayments that they put in these days with stone to
Maintenance-free.
to make it maintenance-free.
So, the applicant is asking this board to remove that section of the previous approval and not have the applicant install that 10-foot buffer that was approved last?
Yes.
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 Okay. All right. That doesn't seem to be what we agreed to. Now you're coming back and telling us something different. But,
Mr.
Okay.
President, I fully agree. It's not what was agreed to in the prior hearing, and that's why we're here requesting an amendment. That's all I can say.
My fault for coming the first time without an attorney, okay? If I had
Okay.
an attorney the first time, we wouldn't be here.
I think he meant a handsome attorney, but I
can't represent him.
well, let's that out.
Well, look at you two girls. Look at you two girls fighting.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Maybe, counsel, you just want to elaborate upon, what are the change of circumstances surrounding this request? The hardship, change of circumstances, that's going to be the legal basis for the board to consider.
Yes.
$20,000.
The hardship is specifically that taking back the driveway, very expensive. You have to obviously unload all that asphalt somewhere, permit it, and all that kind of stuff, okay? So that's expensive. Then installing, it's not entirely clear what the landscape buffer was to consist of, if it was just one line of trees. I know that there is part of the new code that the 108.8.1 has very significant provisions regarding landscape buffers. If that were to apply here, it would be significantly expensive. But again, have a sense that that buffer requirement is more for these significant buffers for like a subdivision or a commercial property or something like that. So stripping the asphalt is one piece of the hardship. Purchasing and having planted all of that vegetation, it's not even clear how many feet, if it's 60 feet, if it's more than that, not entirely clear what that would consist of. And then the other piece is the ongoing maintenance of all of that. That's a significant amount of shrubbery, if you would. And so that going forward is another piece of the hardship. The cost of that just going forward is very significant. The other thing is, I just, and I'm sorry to pivot here, but I just think that if the concerns are noise from leaf blowers, pest control, pesticides, things like that, fumes from all those kinds of things, why would you put in something that's, it's almost like an attractive nuisance? Why would you put in the very thing that's going to create the nuisance that the neighbor is complaining about? So the hardship is mostly economic, but it's also just neighborly relations going forward. They don't want a constant strife between themselves and the neighbors. And had they processed that maybe a little differently back in when this resolution was approved in 2024, I would submit they would have come up with a different resolution. So I hope that answers
I just
the
wanted
hardship.
to make sure you cover that for the record, that's all. Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Members of the board have any more questions for the applicant?
I have one question, Mr. Chairman.
Go ahead.
Mr. Kozak, when we took this application last year, as I remember, and I'm trying to see if you can remember, but I thought the reason for the buffer was for stormwater runoff. Their property is higher than the adjacent property, and it was, we were looking at runoff from the driveway into the neighbor. Is that how you remember it?
No.
No.
Here's what well, I'm not gonna give testimony, but what the attorney was saying, the reasons were the reasons. What
Okay.
he gave. I don't recall any other, and it's not on the record, so.
For light, however you say it, light ordinance. They didn't like the light shining into his property.
Okay.
Thank you,
Any-
Mr. Chairman, I'm done.
Thank you. Any more questions for the applicant? Anything else for right now?
Not for now,
Okay.
reserved.
Okay. Is there a motion to open to the public? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Is there anyone from the public wishing to speak on behalf of application 1876 and 23-62? Please step up to the microphone.
Good evening. Christopher Mullen, attorney for Lemonwitz, Law Letter Birnbaum. Our address, 591 Mansfield Boulevard, Sewell, New Jersey.
Charles Lemonovich, 323 Lake Avenue.
Kathleen Lemonovich, 323 Lake Ave.
Both swear or affirm, tell the truth, nothing but the truth. Absolutely. Very good.
I do. Love to circulate some photos to the board if I could, just pass them down if you wouldn't mind.
And we did circulate your packets that you provided.
Yeah,
For the record.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, the letter was already addressed.
Sir, do you have a copy, counsel?
I do not.
I have an extra copy up there, you can,
Here.
Of the letter? I have the letter.
okay. Of the photographs?
I don't have the photographs.
I just got them this afternoon. Be happy to provide after the hearing, but.
We'll pass them so you can look at them as
Yeah.
well.
Or you see them first if you'd like.
I'll listen, and then if I need to, I'll come.
Thanks. All right. First and foremost, I'm just here to memorialize my client's objection. As was already stated, this has been going on since 2018, and the applicant first applied to store commercial vehicles on the neighboring property to my clients here. That was granted. Even back then, the board had discussed including a 10-foot buffer. That was noted today. And then later on, in just a year ago, 2024, applicant came back, decided to pave the driveway, got his conditional approval, and really the only condition that we're objecting to today is that buffer needs to remain. Because as noted in the photographs, as noted in the letter, once the applicant paved that driveway, it abuts an existing chain link fence that splits the two property lines. So even if the fence, the vinyl fence was, approved or decided upon, there would be no way on our client's property to maintain that fence. There's already an existing fence there, and I think it's 6 inches between the existing chain link fence and the paved driveway. And the applicant came up here and his attorney talked about the hardship it creates to remove that asphalt. Since 2018, there was always a 10-foot buffer. The applicant decided to pave that driveway and is now complaining that it's too burdensome to remove the driveway that he installed. And really, I know there's some underlying neighborly disputes here going on. This is not the proper venue to address that. Really, our main concern here is that without that buffer, the 10-foot buffer and the vegetation, I was at the Lemonwoods property this afternoon, first time I've seen it, and it's just wide open space. The trucks that come in and out and park with their headlights facing the sunroom, it's obvious that there's no vegetation. It's a simple, small chain link fence. Cars are coming and going, as evidenced in the photographs. Pull right up to the fence. It's an area where they used to have their barbecue grill, would hang out, just relax the family. You no longer do that. I had to relocate that into the property. Even if you were to put blinds in the sunroom, I could tell from being there today, the headlights are pointing directly into the Lemonwoods property. So there's really a lack of privacy, creates a nuisance. There's a safety concern as well, where the cars are pulling right up against the fence and then backing into the applicant's property. If they have people over, there's people parking all along the fence. God forbid somebody forgets to put it in park, hits reverse, hits the acceleration, they're going right through that existing fence. Some vegetation there would not only be aesthetically pleasing, but as those trees really take root, provides a layer of protection for my clients here. And I think it was Mr. Fodder. Footer. I apologize.
No worries.
As you accurately brought up, main concern that was raised by my clients is the lack of impervious coverage. So this last year, as evidenced in the photos, there's been a lot more flooding because that water's got nowhere to go. When the vegetation was there, it was able to absorb some of the water, and that the lack of that 10-foot buffer has caused their backyard to flood. And so that's a main concern for my clients as well. So that's really why we're pushing for that vegetation there, not only for the aesthetics, but also for the fact that it absorbs the rainwater that right now has nowhere to go. So those are my clients' main concerns, right? The lack of privacy, the nuisance it creates, the safety, the flooding repercussions. But I think really the only point I'm here to hammer home is the board previously provided these conditions. Now the applicant's here saying, I don't want to adhere to these conditions. Even though there were 2 prior resolutions, that condition is required. So I don't know how, in good faith, the board kind of set a precedent where if you just ignore the conditions for 6 months, a year, 2018, 7 years, that they'll eventually just go away. I think, all we're looking for here is just for the board to apply a standard of fairness in what was previously conditioned, what my clients are looking for here, and that's really all. We're here to just meet the goals of the community, keep a peaceful neighborhood, an aesthetically pleasing neighborhood, and I'll turn it over to my clients to see if they have anything to add.
That was not private property.
The main thing I want to express is that we did bring up in the last meeting, one of the pictures was of my husband. I think we provided the picture again today. It is my husband sitting in our yard, and there's a car parked right up against the fence. So we have brought up the safety issue before. It's still a problem. They have done nothing to fix the problem. And when they come home, they pull right up inches to our fence, even though they have, I believe the parking spot there is 50 feet wide. But they come right up to our fence and to back their cars in, and that's just a safety issue we're just not willing to compromise on. We're not going to compromise the safety of our family. A vinyl fence is not going to protect from a car coming through. Thank you.
I just want to reiterate again, the safety, the drainage. Okay, yeah, the vinyl fence may take care of the headlights, but that's not going to take care of the safety factor. I've already had guests over that were there when they would actually pull up. They were in, my side yard enjoying themselves, and they would come home and they would back or pull up forward right up to the fence. And, some of the neighbors got startled by this. And so even now, we have to throw another party, and my neighbors, they're hesitant to come over now, my family, my friends, for, a simple barbecue. But that 10-feet buffer, I think, would make people a lot more relaxed. And also, the trees, once they're established, they will be stronger than a vinyl fence.
So just in closing, really what our main ask here is just for the board to maintain its existing conditions, specifically the buffer and the landscaping. That's really all we're asking for, is just not to change the two decisions you made previously. So, thank you.
I have one question. You keep on referring to since 2018. Are you referring to the property adjacent?
Yes, it's no, it's
So,
original property.
okay, but we're not, so hold on. We're not I want to know, have you been dealing with the property that separates your chain link fence to the lashes? That's been since 2018?
No.
So how long has that been?
Oh, excuse me, that was
What the last meeting was,
2024, a year and a half.
Okay.
But now that they removed all vegetation, literally
I-
over 3 properties,
I-
now you can clearly see the dump trucks, the heavy equipment, the front end loaders. It's all in the pictures there. If you really study the pictures, you see all that equipment from my yard now.
I just wanted to be clear.
Thanks.
Any more questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else in the public who wishes to speak on behalf of application 1876 and 23-62? Seeing none, is there a motion to close public portion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Opposed? The ayes have it. Is there anything else you'd like to say in closing?
Please, using my reserved time, and I appreciate the board's consideration. In all fairness, the issue of drainage wasn't part of the prior application, at least my reading of the minutes of the resolution incorporating what testimony was. I don't see any indication that there was any discussion of runoff. The concerns that were raised were identified in my letter. I summarized them in my letter, but I can go back to the resolution if anybody would prefer. And essentially, in the resolution that is 12/2024, it's on page 5 where the Lemanowitz testimony is summarized in the whereas paragraph. That's the longest paragraph on that page. And it says headlights, light pollution, bedroom window, leaf blower, blowing debris and dust, weed killer, so accessible light for planting flowers. There's nothing in there, at least that I can see, about runoff. Had there been a concern about that, there'd be a whole engineering study if that was something that had to be done. And those things can get really, really, really expensive when you start talking about, what you're going to do with recharge and all those kinds of things from back in, back when I used to be on a planning board. Okay, so that's the first thing. The other thing was, because of that, it wasn't a basis for the condition being in the prior application. It wasn't about runoff or anything about runoff. Although there's a representation about 2 resolutions, there are 2 resolutions, but they're using the same recitals, and so they're essentially as if they're one resolution. It was really one hearing where this came up. Small point, but I thought I'd bring it up. And there's a significant allegation that somehow my clients have ignored the board and have ignored their neighbors. They haven't. One of the most immediate concerns from the back neighbor was to eliminate this pile of wood that was in the back of the property. And it was a major, major pile of wood that had been cleared from the property in the Lashes rehabilitating the property. And so they spent weeks moving that. If there was any delay, please blame it on me, not on my clients, because I've had a lot of things going on, setting up a new practice, and some things have arisen. It's not the Lashes who have been inattentive. They're trying to resolve this in a way that's fair for everybody, and more importantly, a lasting resolution that won't bring the parties back before this board or enforcement officers or whatever going forward. Regarding almost like a res judicata thing, you know, that somehow the board made these decisions and imposed this condition, and so the board should stick to it. I can appreciate this. However, that's the reason for the amendment process. And we're just trying to use the amendment process to amend just this one condition. And we're not trying to ignore the condition. We're not saying get rid of the condition. We're saying we want to meet that condition, but with a different means, using a fence instead of using shrubbery. If there is, and I haven't conferred with my client yet about this, but if there is a concern about access to the chain link fence, and 6 inches isn't enough, if it needs to be a foot, something like that, I can see if my clients would agree to, instead of a 6-inch setback on the fence, make it a foot setback, and then there should be maybe enough room for Mr. Lemanowitz to patrol his chain link fence. I haven't talked to my clients, but I imagine that could be something that we could agree to. Okay? But let's see if we get there. And the last thing is about, there was discussion about trucks and things like that. Again, this is not a commercial property. This is a residential property. And both property owners have a habit of doing like a K-turn and shining their lights on the other side, and then they pull back and park their respective vehicles. Again, my suggestion is that a 6-foot fence blocks the light right away. Nobody's going to have any concerns about light or anything else. So thank you very much for your time.
Through the chair, I have one more question.
Yes.
For you or the applicant.
Yes.
What time frame would this fence be installed if it was granted? What time frame?
How long it takes for the fence guy to come?
No, how, like, that if we do decide, that, I'm asking you, don't bite off more than you can chew. If we do decide, what would you say? Reasonable that you would be able to do it.
Fence guy says he can come next week, come next week.
Well, there may be supply chain issues, so.
Yeah,
He's
that's-
trying to say you don't want to lock yourself into 2 weeks. Is it 30 days? Is it
I can't
45?
speak for the fence guy.
Okay.
If he's busy and can't come for 2 months, then he can't come for 2 months. I don't know.
That's what I'm saying.
Well,
We should put it,
time.
if we decide that, if the board decides that, it should be some sort of,
3 months?
you know, and it could be 6 months. It doesn't matter, but there should be some kind of, that it would be done within a,
And if that fence guy can't come, you get a different fence guy that will get it done. All right, so whatever the board
Yeah.
says upon condition of, you know, approval, you will have it done, well, just say hypothetically,
6 months.
6 months.
May I have a word with my client
Yeah.
about this issue, just for a
Yeah.
second?
You understand?
I understand 100%.
And not box himself in
We
either.
put timeframes on everything.
Everything, that's what I'm saying, you have to put a time frame.
So, thank you, Mr. Kozak. And the lashes are fine with, you know, whatever the board thinks is commercially reasonable under the circumstances. They understand that the quid pro quo is they're gonna solve the problem quickly, instead of having to do all this work.
That's all.
So,
That
yes.
if we do, and with winter coming, so this is August, September, October, November, December.
We want to build a house.
No,
Let's handle this first, hold on.
Okay, so that's the representation.
even
Thank
4
you
months.
Okay.
For your consideration.
So, Mr. Kozak, your suggestion?
No, it'd be up to the other members, what they think is reasonable.
Can I just ask, do we know where the 10 feet came from? Was that like a original requirement, like if there was any type of permitting issue to where that would have been required to be 10 feet back?
I
Do
don't know,
we-
I believe it was just kind of
An arbitrary
random
thing?
number.
It
Maybe
was-
when the planner was here, they may have suggested that's something that would be standard.
He's saying whatever variances, you know,
So it was arbitrary?
Setback issue.
yeah, well, whatever setback is approved by the township, whether it be 10 foot, 20 foot, whatever it is, we don't have it in writing.
6 inches.
6 inches from the property line.
And 6 inches from the property line is
Fence.
It's
code.
the
It's
fence,
code.
it's code.
It's code.
But whatever
But
the,
not the driveway,
huh?
not the driveway. That's impervious surface.
We're talking about the fence. Well, that's your opinion, though. That's not, that's your
I know. I'm
opinion.
just
That's,
making a comment.
you're not giving your testimony, you're giving your opinion.
Yes.
Okay. Then I would say that I would be comfortable if, with 6 months. Does anyone else have a problem with that? If we agreed to that? Okay, Mr. Fury?
Okay, summarize it.
And just one thing, Mr. Chairman, and you have the applicant's assurance that they're going to get it done as quick as possible. And the really nice thing is, since putting in a fence doesn't rely on me, they'll get it done. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Fury?
I'd like to address two,
Well, hold on.
Okay.
It's public portion is closed.
Oh. Sorry.
Go ahead, Mr. Fury.
Okay, to summarize the application, this is not a new application, it's actually a request to amend conditions of a prior approval. Prior approval was number 11-2024, condition 5, number 12-2024, condition 14, that required a cutback of the asphalt driveway and installation of a buffer that was going to be approved by the township planner. There was no specific plan that was submitted, it was just something that was going to be reviewed by the applicant. The board has to be mindful of the testimony that was provided. The applicant must demonstrate the changed circumstances or other good cause why there should be an amendment to the very specific provision of the prior approval. And that's really what you're deliberating. And if you decide that you accept the fence in lieu of the amended, in lieu of the landscape buffer, then suggestion would be you put a time frame within which to complete that task.
And the fence will meet all the conditions.
And the fence is gonna meet all the conditions of the township code as far as the six inches in between, the setback, and so on.
You did, excuse me, you did set a time limit?
6 months.
Whatever the board would say. In your
Oh, you
motion,
said
put
whatever the board. Oh, in the motion.
It should be relayed in the motion, right?
yes, and if not done, let's make it within the motion, and if not completed within that period of time, it's gonna automatically revert back to the prior approval. So that's gonna put some pressure on the applicant.
Okay. Okay, members, your pleasure in regards to application 1876 and number 23-62.
Motion to approve, and you want me to state that the fence would be provided within 6 months of the resolution?
Memorialization.
Memorialization.
Okay, is there a second?
A 4-foot white vinyl fence.
Up to the house.
Up to the
Don't be
house.
specific.
Per-
What's
okay.
permitted by code?
That's
We're
what's
permitted by
required by the
code,
code.
but a
Permitted
white
by code.
vinyl fence, whatever the code is, but the style of fence. that's
Right.
what I'm saying. Okay.
Board on board.
with final.
Is there a second?
I second.
Okay, roll call.
Okay. Mr. Kozak?
It appears a fence provided by the applicant within 6 months of this memorialization will immediately resolve the concerns of the neighbor.
Mr. Colavita?
I believe that the fence is a reasonable resolution rather than what was previously approved, and they were concerned about the light, so yes.
Mr. Carino?
No.
Ms. Fasano? No. Mr. Hefner?
Don't see the hardship, the answer is no.
Mr. Rice?
No.
Mr. Kaminsky?
Yes.
Okay. Denied. Your application to amend is denied.
Thank you.
They didn't give reasons.
Okay, is there a motion to open to the public?
So moved. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Is there anyone from the public wishing to speak on the behalf of any application tonight? Seeing none, is there a motion to close the public portion? Second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Approval of minutes. Is there a motion to approve the minutes from July 14, 2025?
Motion approved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Reports? Anything from council?
We, I don't have any reports, but we have a lot of applications coming up, so, all the meetings probably through the end of the year are gonna be a little bit more full than we're used to. So be prepared.
When's the date for the next meeting? Because we go back to this.
We go back to 2 meetings a month. Holder.
All that money. Yeah. All that money.
September 8th, September 22nd are our next 2 meetings.
22nd, okay. Motion to adjourn?
September.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you.